Rough Cut. Bearland Tales 1. By Kendall Morgan. Chapter 1. Chris Hodak was in a good mood. He had fun dining with his younger brother Dave and his new wife that evening in their new apartment in one of Chicago's grittier but increasingly hip neighborhoods. Chris had told his sister-in-law several anecdotes from when they were kids, much to Dave's chagrin. After leaving them, he drove not to the expressway that would take him back to the suburb where he lived, but to another, gayer neighborhood to get a drink at a bar. Maybe he'd look in at the bathhouse where he'd gotten and given blowjobs several times a few years ago. As he stepped out of his car, he delighted in what a fine late spring evening it was. He marveled at the number of people out and about as dusk moved in. At this time of day in the suburb he called home, the only people he saw outside were those who were walking their dogs, or who had listened to their doctor's advice that walking was good for their health. And the men. Damn, there were so many of them here. And there were so many types of men, too many to choose from. He paid for parking and started walking. It might be enough for him just to walk around and take in the sight of all these men. He smiled as he remembered that song, the one about it raining men. He hummed it tunelessly as he strolled. Chris noticed that he was getting quite a few glances. His 20s, when he could take his beautiful body for granted, were behind him, but he had been looking good lately. He was taking better care of himself, for one thing. He'd grown a neatly trimmed beard and mustache that looked good on him. And even now that he was nearing 42, he knew he was impressive to look at. He was actually fitter now than he was when he had played football in high school and college. He still had a gut, but he looked as imposing as he had when he was a defensive lineman. He was big at 6 feet, 7 inches tall, and 275 pounds. He had floppy light brown hair beginning to get streaked with gray. His sea-green eyes had always been one of his best features, or so he'd been told. A crooked smile made him appear roguish. He used that smile a lot as he passed several good-looking men. One young-looking man licked his lips as he passed, and another, a drag queen, whistled at him and proclaimed him a big bad bear, which made him burst out laughing. He loved how the men he saw walked with such confidence and style, so different than what he remembered from when he had made infrequent trips to this neighborhood more than 20 years ago. Being gay had been a quieter thing back then. Sure, there were some who were loud, and he was thankful for them. He was one of the many guys who snuck into this neighborhood then. Now there wasn't much sneaking around. It was all out in the open.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?